Good evening, I'm Greg Floyd. Hundreds protesting on the Skidmore College campus in Saratoga Springs today. They're rallying in support of a classmate who was fighting to keep the man accused of raping her off campus. Jennifer Lukey first brought you this story last week, and since then, support for this woman continues to grow.
Wristbands and stickers. Hundreds of students, many wearing these green T-shirts that read, "Suspension is not enough, don't graduate rapists," packed the building.
A couple years ago, it was a very silent issue. No one really talked about it at all, but it was still happening, right? So no matter what happens, I think this is it's great because it's getting people thinking about it and talking about it.
Let's demand open investigations and kind of have the process be as transparent as possible. And when the process seems to be unfair or the result doesn't seem just, then the whole community is going to react.
And they're reacting to Reina.
I stepped forward because I was tired of not being heard. I mean, I see some young women walking around with tape over their mouths, and it's a perfect physical manifestation of what I've felt emotionally for the past year.
Skidmore found the man guilty of violating its sexual misconduct policy. He's been suspended since last summer, but is now allowed a readmittance hearing.
For the administration to allow him to come back would be to say, this happened, but it's acceptable, it's forgivable, he can come back, he can continue his studies here and graduate.
When you as an institution have found a student guilty of violating your sexual misconduct policy, how is it possible they would be able to come back to this institution?
Our policy, which has been put together with, as I said, a number of considerations and has been vetted by national experts and the Skidmore community, including students, does allow for a student to apply for readmission to the college following a period of suspension.
Reina did get to testify in that hearing, but before going in, she took time to read these messages from her classmates and then post one herself.
Even if he does come back, the fight's going to keep going. I mean, there are hundreds of people here, and those are hundreds of people that know my experience and know my story. And even if they don't know his name, they know that it happened.
And they stood in silent support, lining the hallways into and out of that hearing room to make sure she knew no matter what happens, she's not alone. In Saratoga, Jennifer Lukey, CBS 6 News.
The hearing lasted several hours this afternoon. The review board is expecting to make a decision on the man's readmittance within the next 10 days.